A very good morning, students. Welcome to your social science class. Students, as you all know, after your term 1 examination, we have completed two chapters so far. First one was from geography, chapter agriculture, and in our last class, we completed the chapter understanding our criminal justice system from civics. So, students, now it's time we start with the chapter from history. So today we are going to start with the chapter Civilizing the Native and Educating the Nation. Okay. So students, let me just give you a brief explanation on the background of the study. Okay. So students, we have done many chapters from history, right? And in most of the chapters, we have learned about how the British established their rule in India and how it impacted the lives of the Nawabs, the lives of the Rajas, then the lives of the peasants, the sepoys, etc. The British started collecting revenues, then the British started conquesting the territories, isn't it? But students, apart from that, it also, that means the British rule also impacted the lives of the students, okay? Because when they came to India, they started changing the entire education system. So in this chapter, we will discuss how the British rule in India started influencing the education system and how the people reacted to it. Okay? So, to begin with, we will discuss the tradition of Orientalism. This is quite a new word for you all. So, we will basically discuss how the British perceived education, what according to them education was. That is the tradition of Orientalism. Okay. So students, from today's class, you all will be able to explain the tradition of Orientalism. Along with that, you all will also be able to relate it in the present day scenario, how much it is relevant in today's world. Okay. So students, in 1783, one Britisher, that is William Jones, he arrived in Calcutta. Okay, he was basically appointed as a junior judge at the Supreme Court of the British. Okay, but along with that, he was a linguist. Linguist is a person who is expert in different languages, who has studied different languages. So Jones, along with a judge in the Supreme Court, he was also a linguist. He studied various languages, starting from Greek, then French, then English, Arabic, Persian, etc. Not only that, when he arrived in India, he started developing interest towards Sanskrit language. Okay, so at Calcutta, he learned the language of Sanskrit and the Sanskrit grammar and Sanskrit poetry from the various Pandits. Okay. So students, he also, that means as he started developing interest towards Sanskrit, he also develops interest towards the ancient Indian text. Ancient Indian text means the books which were written in the ancient time, be it the Bhagavad Gita, be it the Quran, isn't it? So he started studying about the ancient Indian text on different fields: law, philosophy, religion, then politics, morality, arithmetic, medicine, and different other sciences. Okay, so he started studying about the roots of Indian culture. Okay, he started developing interest on everything that was related to the Indian culture. All right. So students, now coming to the tradition of Orientalism. So as he uh, continued studying about the Indian text and the Indian culture, he met two other British officials. One was Henry Thomas Colebrook and the other one was Nathaniel Hallett. Okay, so he found these two other Britishers who also shared the same interest. That means these two persons were also interested in studying about the ancient Indian culture, in studying about the ancient Indian text, to know about the Indian heritage, our rich culture. Okay, so they together, okay, that means William Jones together with Colebrook and Khaled, they together set up a society known as the Asiatic Society of Bengal, okay. And not only that, they also started a journal, kind of a newspaper, that is called Asiatic Researches, okay. So they started researching about more and more about the Indian culture, about the Indian heritage, about the ancient Indian texts, the poetries, the grammars, everything, okay. So students, as they started or as they continued studying about the ancient Indian texts, they started loving the Indian culture, okay. They started supporting the Indian culture. So they felt that the Indian civilization had attained its glory in the ancient past, okay, but it has subsequently declined. They started believing that Indian culture is actually a very rich culture. It attained its glory, whatever value it has, it attained it in the past, but now it is subsequently declining, okay. That means people are losing interest in the ancient culture day by day. So to understand India in a better way, they felt that it was necessary to discover the sacred and the legal text of India, okay, that were produced in the ancient period. So they started exploring more and more about the Indian culture. Not only that, they also started promoting the learning of Indian texts. They wanted the people to learn more and more about the Indian culture, okay. This is known as the tradition of Orientalism. This idea of supporting the Indian culture, this idea of exploring the Indian culture is known as Orientalism, okay. And those who supported this idea, those who were in favor of this idea, they were known as the Orientalists, okay. So students, Jones and Colebrook, they went on discovering more and more about the Indian culture, the ancient texts, their meaning. Then they translated them into their own language and they made their findings known to others. They started spreading the knowledge of Indian culture, okay. And they believe that this will help the Indians to rediscover their culture that has been lost, okay. So they wanted the Indians to learn the Indian language, the Indian culture, something with which they are already familiar with, because they believed that there is no use of learning something new. So it's better to learn something which we are already familiar with, okay. So they wanted the Indian people to explore the Indian culture, the Indian language, the Indian text. So students, they felt that the various institutions in India should encourage the study of ancient Indian text, okay, and not only that, Persian literature and poetry, okay. And the Hindus and Muslims, they should learn what they were already familiar with, as I have already told you, and what they valued and treasured, something that they could connect with, all right. So students, keeping in mind these views and these ideas, in 1781, okay, a madrasa was set up in Calcutta. Now you must be thinking what a madrasa is. A madrasa is basically an institution that promotes Islamic instruction, okay. So a madrasa, it was set up in Calcutta to promote the study of Arabic, Persian and Islamic law. That means everything that was related with Islamic law and culture, Arabic law and culture, and Persian law and culture, it was taught in that madrasa, and it was set up in 1781, okay. And to promote the Indian culture, that means the Hindu culture and the Hindu ideas, a Hindu college was also set up, okay. It is known as the Hindu University. It was set up in Banaras in 1791, okay, to encourage the study of the ancient Indian culture, Sanskrit, the Sanskrit text that would be useful for the administration of the country, because they believe that in order to administer India, in order to keep India under their control, it was very important to know about the heritage of India, the knowledge of both Hindu and Muslim texts and the culture, okay. So students, here you can see a picture. This picture, in between you can see a monument of Warren Hastings. Okay, so Warren Hastings, and in his right and left you can see one Pandit is there and one Munshi is there. So Warren Hastings, he was a strong supporter of this view of Orientalism. Okay, he started promoting the Indian culture and the Indian text. He was an ardent supporter of this concept or this tradition of Orientalism. So students, this image which I have just shown you, it represents how the Orientalists thought of the British power in India. Okay, so if you have seen the image carefully, you will notice that this figure of Hastings, he was an enthusiastic supporter of the Orientalist. Okay, and it is placed between the standing figure of a Pandit on one side and a Munshi on the other side. Okay, so Hastings and the other Orientalists, they needed Indian scholars to teach them the vernacular language. Vernacular language means the local language of India. Okay, they were very much interested in learning the Indian languages. Okay, so they wanted the Indian scholars to teach them those languages and also tell them about the local customs, the rituals, the values, the laws, and also help them to translate and interpret the Indian text. Okay, and it was Hastings students who took the initiative to set up this madrasa in Calcutta, and he believed that the customs of India, that is the ancient customs and Oriental learning, should be the basis of British rule in India, because their primary motive was to get back the trust of Indian people. So they thought of this idea that if they started promoting the Indian culture, okay, they will develop a place in the heart of the Indian people. So just to win back the trust of the Indian people, they started promoting this tradition of Orientalism, that is supporting the Indian culture and the Indian heritage. But students, let me tell you that there were other Britishers who opposed this idea of Orientalism. They were not quite supportive of this idea of Orientalism because they had their own views. They started to promote Christianity. They wanted to promote Christianity. Along with that, they also wanted to promote Western education. So they were not supportive of this idea of the Orientalist to promote Indian culture. They wanted to spread Western culture. So they opposed the Orientalist. Okay. So students, a few of the new words which we have learned today are, number one is Orientalism. So Orientalism means the idea or the process or the concept of promoting the Indian culture and the Indian heritage, to know more and more about the Indian life. Okay. Then Orientalist means the people who support this idea of Orientalism. Okay. Linguist means anyone who is an expert in various languages, who has studied different languages. Heritage means our culture, our past. And madrasa means the institutions which promote Islamic instruction. Okay, Islamic education. So students, today we discussed about the tradition of Orientalism and how the British started promoting Indian text and Indian culture. And we also came to know that some of the Britishers oppose this idea of Orientalism. Alright. So now coming to your work for today's class. The first question. Do you think the idea of Orientalism is relevant in present day context? Discuss. So students, Orientalism basically means promoting the ancient Indian culture. So you need to write how far do you think it is relevant in today's life. Today it's so modernized. Everything is so modernized. So how far do you think it is relevant in today's world? How far do you think it is useful in today's world? Okay, discuss in your own words. Second question. Do you think all the British officials supported the idea of Orientalism? If not, why? So when we discussed, we came to know that not all Britishers, they supported the idea of Orientalism. Why? This you need to write on your own. Who is a linguist? Anyone who is an expert in different languages. Then what do you mean by madrasa? Madrasa is an institution that teaches Islamic or that gives Islamic instruction. Then who started the journal Asiatic Researches? William Jones together with Hulled and Colebrook, isn't it? So students, you need to do your work and submit in Google Classroom um, as usual between 8 to 9 p.m. And in case if you have any doubts, do let me know. All right. So see you all in the next class. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.